I'm here today with one of the owners of Hoosier Custom Cruiser RVs. Earl, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Earl Robbins, and I'm one of the owners in Hoosier Custom Cruiser RVs, as my daughter Amy just said. This is an employee-owned company. There are currently 10 members of the company, and each one owns an equal share. I'm not the boss. We don't really have a boss. We meet and go through things and decide together on what kind of product we want to build, what materials we would like to use, and we just try to build the best possible RV that we can.
Oh, neat. So how long have you been in the RV industry? Are you new to this?
No, I started in the RV business in 1984.
So a good while back.
Good while back. Worked for an RV company for 14 years, an RV dealer, selling all types of RVs, from tent campers to diesel pusher motorhomes. And then moved to Michigan and had a non-compete with my dealer. I couldn't sell an RV for about 3 or 4 years. So during that time, I sold Ford, Lincoln, Mercury cars and trucks, and then got back into the RV business after my non-compete was up, and ended up being in with a small company in Middlebury, Indiana, during the recession, and that's where I learned how to sell RVs online, because we weren't getting people stopping in the dealership. It was a small dealership, and so that's kind of where I started selling online.
That kind of changed the whole face of the RV business, didn't it? Everything changed.
Well, it did. I was one of the old guys that said, this internet stuff is going to ruin everything. But we found a way to work with it, and we were bringing people in from Canada and the West Coast and Florida, and I even sold RVs overseas over the internet to people from Australia. I had a couple of dealers that were buying truck campers from us. We were shipping them there. I sold a travel trailer to somebody from Mongolia.
Oh, wow, really?
And shipped it all the way to Mongolia.
Wow.
So it's kind of a crazy business, and the internet we just kind of embraced it and realized at one point you might not make as much per coach because you've got so much competition, but you can sell more product and make it up, as they say, in volume.
Right.
Obviously, everything has to have a profit built in, but if you sell enough of them online, then you don't have to do that. And that's kind of the approach we took during the Great Recession, and that's kind of
Look at this. So you went from, hey, this is ridiculous, the internet's going to ruin all of it, to opening up pretty much internet-based manufacturing company. Now, did you always know that you wanted to open a manufacturing company?
No. I never really wanted to own my own company. I was happy working for somebody else and then going home and enjoying my home and my family. But never really thought I would own my own company. When I worked for the last company I worked for, I worked as a sales manager, and for about 5 or 6 years, never took a real vacation away from my computer.
Right.
We took our computer with us everywhere we went, so I was always working. And as long as I was awake, I was answering the phone.
Right.
And it became to be, well, a little trying, but I enjoyed it so much. Then when I left that company and retired, I was happily retired and got a phone call from some of the people I used to work with, and they said, we'd like to start our own company. So we had a meeting, and they presented to me what they wanted to do, and I tried everything I could to talk them out of it. Quite frankly, I said, you're not going to be making a lot of money, and you may never make a lot of money. If you're trying to get into this to get rich, it's not going to happen.
Right.
And they told me that they just wanted to work for themselves, build the best quality coach that they could, and not have somebody else telling them what to do or how to do it, and they would be happy if they could make $60,000 or $80,000 a year.
Right.
Because most of them had never made that much.
Right.
So I said, well, going into it with those things in mind, and keep in mind, you know, you're going to have to work hard and you might not get a paycheck for 2 or 3 years. If you're willing to do that, I'm willing to help. So basically, I did this not for myself, I guess, as much as I did for the other people that are my partners.
It makes a difference when you don't have several $1 million salaries to pay at the top of the company.
Right.
It makes a difference, right? Everyone can make a little bit more share of the profit, and you can make really good luxury quality coaches without the luxury quality price.
Right. I mean, these guys are craftsmen and artists, and they really care about their work. They try to do the best job they can every day. They build it just like they were building for themselves. They've built 2 coaches for me. My wife and I just purchased our second one. Sold the first one online just with a phone call, and sold, that was the first prototype, and so we ordered and built a new one for us. But basically right now we have 4 guys online that are doing almost all the work, and they're all owners of the company.
That's great.
We have a couple other young guys that had to go take a job someplace else because they have to have an income for their families. So they're anxious to come to work full-time for Hoosier Cruiser when they can. And Carol in the office does an amazing job on everything she does, taking care of all the book work and ordering parts and everything for us like that. And then I take care of the sales. So the sales is basically all I do. I have been doing some of the work. I mean, I build the drawers for the coaches. So I have a wood shop and I enjoy doing woodwork. So I'm building the drawers for the coaches right now. Our goal is not to be a big company. We're never going to compete with Thor or Forest River or Winnebago or some of those guys.
Right.
And we don't want to. We want to build a good quality coach with the best quality materials we can find, and have happy customers that say good things about us, and so far they've all been very, very happy. Okay. If we can build a coach per month, which is what we did last year, we can be profitable. It's not a lot of money, but it pays the salaries.
Right.
If we can get to 2 coaches per month, we'll be real happy with that.
That's great.
2 coaches a month is really our goal, and that's where we want to be. We don't want to do 2 a day or 2 a week or 5 a week or anything like that. We want to stay with a small company, build a great product, and that's our goal.
And that is really what sets Hoosier Custom Cruiser apart from a lot of the bigger mass-produced units. I remember hearing a bit of a conversation early on when they were building your first coach, and one of the guys was talking about being able to use the number of screws he wanted on maybe the back panel or something, the number of the screws he wanted somewhere in the coach, and how that was a big deal, that it wasn't enough of a difference on the bottom line. When you are making a dozen or 2 dozen coaches a year, even if you're paying $10 more for the part, it doesn't make the difference like it does with a bigger company. $10 difference per part will be tens of thousands of dollars for them when they're mass producing.
That's right. And it's not just that, it's the employees also. I worked at one of the local RV dealers where I told you we started with the internet sales. And one of the service technicians had worked in the local RV manufacturers for several years. And he was supposed to put, I think it was 15 screws in the sidewall, attaching the wall to the floor on this trailer. And he did 10 screws instead of 15 because it saved him so many minutes per coach, and he was paid on how many coaches he produced, not how many screws he put in.
Right.
And I said, well, didn't any inspector or anything catch that, or the foreman or anybody say anything to you? No, nobody ever said anything about it.
Wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, the poor guy that bought that coach and it falls apart on him, then what, what about him?
Right.
But these guys don't think about
right.
the customer, the end user. All they think about is getting their paycheck,
finishing their workday,
and finishing their workday and going home as early as possible. So we're just not going to do that. We're not going to build that kind of coach.
It's a big difference. One of the things you had mentioned that you are making the cabinets, and I don't know if the public knows, but you are a master woodworker, and you make and sell not inexpensive furniture
right.
for people. And I don't know any other, certainly not at that price, but I don't know any other RV manufacturers that have a dedicated master woodworker like you building any of their woodwork. That was, that's such a nice feature.
Well, it is. And there are so many things that when we first started sitting down to decide on what kind of coach we're going to build and what features we wanted to have and what materials we wanted to use, one of the other guys said he would like to see solid wood cabinets. And I said, well, I'm a woodworker and I love solid wood, but you know, wood comes with defects and it's hard to get good quality wood, and it's much easier to go with a vinyl wrapped style that is pre-made and you just cut it and screw it together and you don't have to finish it or do anything to it. He said, well, I would really like to see wood cabinets. And I said, well, I would too. So we voted on that. We decided we would go with wood cabinets. So all of our cabinetry is made out of hard maple.
Nice.
It's not a vinyl wrap style. Even our plywood walls are wood veneer and stained. They're not a vinyl covered plywood or vinyl covered paneling. If it looks like wood in our coach, it's wood.
Oh wow, okay.
It's not the faux wood or fake wood or anything like that. Another thing that I wanted the coach to be about 100 inches wide, because I've been in the industry for a long time. I've seen what you can do with something that's 96 inches or 94 inches or 100 inches or 102 inches. 102 is the maximum allowed by law. And I felt like we could get a nice floor plan and have all the features and everything that we wanted with a 100-inch wide coach. So that's what we decided to do. Another thing I wanted was ducted air conditioning in the roof. The ducted air conditioning distributes the air conditioning much more evenly, and it's a lot quieter. One of the biggest drawbacks to non-ducted air conditioning, which was with the last company I was with, is the noise level. It was just always noisy, and I always tried to make excuses for it and everything like that. But at the end of the day, my wife and I owned one like that, and it was so loud you could hardly watch television in the evening if the air conditioner was running because it was so noisy. So we went with a thicker roof. It has a truss roof, so it's 3 inches thick versus 1.5 inches that most Class C's or B pluses would have. And it's built like a truss with 3 inches of solid foam insulation in the roof, and the air conditioning is ducted through that, so it's much more efficient. It's much quieter. It gives you more insulation also from the sun, so it doesn't heat the coach up as much. And we're real happy, real pleased with the results on that.
Good. And I think you guys are at a real advantage because everyone at Hoosier Cruiser has not just a little experience. Each one of you who are owners and workers there come with years of experience, years of working for other companies and thinking to themselves, I really wish we could do it this way. This would be a better way. Right. And then you kind of came together and all of you are able to say, this is the way I always felt like it could be done.
Right.
And
Carol and Bob, Ed and Matt have all been in the RV business for 25 years or more.
Oh wow, okay.
Adam is one of the younger guys, and he's still been building RVs ever since he got out of high school. So he's been over 10 years, 15 years, something like that. And Mike and Billy also have been in the RV business for at least 10 years each. they've worked for a number of manufacturers, trailer manufacturers, fifth wheels, motorhomes. Mike is currently working for a bus company, and Jimmy is working for an RV manufacturer.
Okay. And so I just feel like people who are doing that work day in and day out, you develop a sense of how can we do this better? People actually doing the work day in and day out for years, you develop, if you care about your job, you will develop a sense of this is how this could be improved and make an even better product.
That's true. And our people, they're always striving to say, how can I do this better?
Mm-hmm.
Not how can I do it cheaper?
Right.
We recently switched over to something called sea level tank monitors, because it doesn't have the probes through the tank that's getting toilet paper or refuse or something stuck on it. So after a few usage, you can't get a true reading on how full your holding tanks are. So we're trying the sea level monitor system. We had it as an option, but now we're going to make it standard equipment. That's an extra $300 or $400.
Right.
And sometimes the public doesn't see all those kinds of things. But you know, if you take that much out of every coach and put something cheaper in, it's easy to hide that.
Right.
And do something less efficient or less quality.
So you're looking for making a coach that people can enjoy for years, so that they, you know,
oh, absolutely,
it is solid today and it is solid in the future.
You know, I've always thought it strange. The banks will finance a new motorhome for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these coaches built today are not going to last 20 years. I mean, if they do, it's going to require a lot of maintenance and upkeep. I truly feel like our coaches will last that long.
That's great.
I don't see them failing like that. They're really put together well. The materials, the workmanship, everything we put in it is the best we can find.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that makes us different than other companies is our people. All of them have a vested interest. They're all owners. Eventually, you know, we may have to hire a couple people, and we'll decide at that time to make them partners or just pay a salary. We're not sure yet what we'll do on that. But we're all in agreement on the direction the company should go. We never have any issues on, well, you can do this cheaper or faster, or, you know, we never discuss that. We always discuss how can we make it better? What can we do to improve ourselves? We want to have the best product out there, and that's what we're striving to do. We are employee owned. Everybody shares in the profit, when there will be one. I think that's what's really going to set us apart from the other manufacturers, dealers, that sort of thing.
What makes your coach, we touched some on what makes it different, and in our opinion better than other RVs on the market? So would you like to touch on that a little bit more?
Yeah, I could talk about that all day long, but
because you weren't looking to make just another RV on the market, you were looking to make a better RV.
Right. Like right now, we have a coach online that is going to be a new floor plan for us. It 3 feet shorter than our standard, our first model. It's going to be a corner bed, corner bath, which some people don't care for, and it's not for everybody, but this works for this particular person who came in and actually asked us to build this. So I can't imagine going to one of the bigger companies and saying, here is, I've drawn out a floor plan that I want, can you build this for me? They would just laugh at you or walk away. They wouldn't entertain a thought like that. But they didn't want a slide out room, which is unheard of these days almost. But we're building it with no slide out room, but we've built it in a manner that we can put a slide room in this floor plan going forward. So we're thinking ahead that we'll use this floor plan in the future and build it for other people to enjoy too. If you want no slide, we can do that. If you want to slide out, we're going to be able to do that as well. But the slide mechanism we use is a very robust slide mechanism. There are some other systems out there that you can look it up online, all the problems that they're having with slide mechanisms. We don't have that kind of problems with the mechanism we use. It's a local company, and it's just we feel like a lot more robust than some of the others. It's called Liftco. They also build the door that we use. Many of the components we build ourselves, but there are certain things that you have to buy specialized products. And the door on this is just really solid door. We recently went to a different latch system on our cargo doors. It'll be a slam latch, and I'll do more videos on that to come. We just built the first one with the slam latch doors. The roof, like I was saying, being fiberglass on top instead of most companies using rubber. Rubber would be a lot easier to deal with, but the fiberglass is going to last longer. So that's why we use a fiberglass roof.
Okay.
We use the thicker roof, the 3 inches thick instead of 1.5 inches, so it's better insulated and ducted air conditioning. The floor system we use is tubular steel, because the tubular steel is very strong when excuse me, stronger than aluminum when you lay it down flat the way the floor is. And we use a plywood flooring instead of the chipboard that most companies are going to use. The chipboard, the structure wood, they have different names for it. But with that other product, you can get a one-piece 20 feet long and 8 feet wide or whatever, and it's seamless. But when it gets wet, it turns to cornbread, and we just don't want that. So we're using plywood floors. The floor is all laminated, just like the sidewalls are laminated, and the roof is laminated. So it makes a nice, rigid, solid framework. The sidewalls are aluminum frame. The aluminum has a lot of strength when put vertical, and we have vertical studs and some cross members in there. Every one of our windows is framed with aluminum. Every cargo door is framed with aluminum. Before the water heater goes, is framed out with aluminum. So when you open up the door, you don't see just styrofoam there. I've been to a lot of manufacturers over the years, especially back in the late 80s and 90s. If they wanted a window in say a Class A motorhome with a laminated sidewall, they'd take a router and just open up a hole, and then you have exposed styrofoam there. Well, you put a clamp ring window on it and clamp it tight, and it seals really good until you're driving down the road and it's twisting and flexing, and then it starts to leak, and then you get leaks in your sidewall and you get delamination. The other thing is the material we're using. We don't use the Luan wood panel behind the fiberglass, but we use a product that's impervious to water, so it doesn't absorb the water, and it won't rot, and it won't delaminate going down the road. Just a lot of things like that, like the cabinetry we mentioned before is all solid wood. There's so many things. We offer a lot of things that most RV manufacturers can't do because they're building so many of them. They have to build them all alike, where we're building each one individually. It's almost like, well, it's a custom coach. It's built from the ground up.
So if someone says, hey, I have fallen in love with this kitchen faucet and I want to use this faucet and not the faucets you guys come with it, you can do that. You can change out.
Absolutely. We've had customers say, well, I don't want the vinyl flooring that you use. I want to pick out my own flooring.
Okay.
Fine. Go to a big box store or someplace. Just get us the name and the number, or you can have it shipped to us, and we'll tell you how much you need, and we can use that. Carol will ship out cabinet samples for colors. Some people want cherry cabinets or white or gray, or there's so many shades of white.
Yes.
But she'll ship out samples for people, or there's been a couple of them that have gone to kitchen stores and look at the kitchen cabinets that are in stock there, and they'll pick out a color or a certain cabinet style that they want. They send that to us, and we can send it and duplicate that. We build the cabinets, but we have an Amish company build the cabinet doors and drawer fronts, and they're over in Shipshewana, Indiana. They do fantastic, great work, and they're really good at matching colors. So if we send them a sample of something, they can match it to that, and everything will be the same. So yeah, it is truly a custom coach.
Amazing. That's great. Well, it's been great talking to you. Thank you for educating us a little bit on your history and the company's history and what makes Hoosier Cruiser so special. I'm sure we'll have questions from the audience when they watch it. So are you up to answering some questions if we get some?
You know, I have my cell phone number on the website. You're welcome to call me and talk to me in person anytime.
Right, great.
As long as I'm awake, I will answer the phone. If not, if I don't answer the phone, leave your name and number. I'll call you back.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Earl.
You're welcome.